Hello guys, welcome back to a new video. Don't forget to like. We want to reach 100,000 likes. The next period will be all long videos and full anime, so subscribe to the channel so we reach 100,000 subscribers as soon as possible. We begin our story with Lin, a lonely young man living in his house, celebrating his 18th birthday, sitting with a picture of his mother. He tells her that he can finally enter a school to learn magic. Something very strange happens to Lin. He hears strong knocks on the bedroom door and the lights go out around him. He tries to call the police, but there's no response. So he uses the spirit eye skill, a skill he learned when he was young that lets him see magical energy. He sees the spirit of an old man appearing before him after breaking the door. The old man says, "We have finally met," and takes him away, disappearing. Lin finds himself in a strange place. He says to the old man, "Where did you take?" The old man tells him, "This place is considered the barrier between the human world and the spirit world, and I want you to come with me to the spirit world and apply to the magic school there." Strangely, Lin agrees to the old man's offer, saying, "Anyway, I have no one in the human world. No one will notice my absence, and learning magic here is better than there." At that moment, the old man, who seems to hate magic, directs Lin towards a great magical force entering him. The old man gives Lin a scroll and says, "Keep it with you. It will be useful in the future," then leaves and walks away. Lin didn't know what to do. A small creature appears next to Lin and says, "Don't be afraid, I am the system tasked with making you stronger, and only you can see me. From now on, my mission is to help you adapt to the new world." A strange gate appears before him. The system tells him, "There is a magic user near you trapped inside the gate and can't get out. Well, let's help him." The system tells him, "If you want to help him, I'll teach you how to absorb magic." Indeed, Lin follows the instructions, and a girl named Sholin comes out of the gate. She says, "Thank you for saving me," and upon learning that Lin is human, she goes with him to the Magic Academy. He finds a large number of students standing around a giant mirror, with teachers present next to the mirror. These are the admission ceremonies at the academy. Each student comes up and touches the mirror, which determines their rank based on magical power. 100,000 students will be distributed into 100 classes, and class number 1 is called the Genius class. Lin says to Sholan, "There's no way we'll get into the Genius class." Sholan tells him, "I'm sure we will be there." The first student enters, named Wiggy. He touches the mirror, which is surrounded by a black aura that amazes everyone. The teacher announces that he is at the 9th rank and will enter the Genius class. Lin says to Sholan, "Impossible. He's at the 9th rank. Back in our human world, few reach that rank." Sholan tells him, "The level of magic here is much higher than yours, but Ouija can be considered an exception because he is very strong even among mages." The second person to enter was a handsome young man named Shang. He enters with a scroll similar to the one Lin received from the old man. We learn that this scroll is a recommendation from one of the teachers for the Genius students, allowing them to enter the Genius class without a test. All the students were amazed. Shang touches the mirror, and the teacher announces that he is also at the 9th rank. The turn comes to Sholan, who is revealed to be strong and at the 9th rank. Finally, the turn comes to Lin, who says, "I must be strong. I have a scroll and was brought to another world. The mirror should break from my immense power." He gives the teachers the scroll, and they are shocked because it is a recommendation from the legendary teacher, Hair. This man has never recommended a student before. The students couldn't believe it. Clearly, this Hair is a legendary person in this world. One of the teachers, named Minin, examines Lin and says, "You will be a miracle. You will shock everyone present with something that has never happened in the spirit world." At that moment, Lin gathers courage and approaches the mirror to test his power, but the surprise is that nothing happens to the mirror. Teacher Minine tells him, "You have no magical power. You are at rank 0. Didn't I tell you you'd do something that never happened before?" But because Lin had the scroll, he secured a place in the Genius class. Connections have reached other worlds. But of course, the students were not happy with what happened, especially a student named Dabio, seeing that Lin entered the Genius class through cheating and deception. From the first day, he became the most hated person in the entire school and was called the Scum. Ouija challenges Lin to a fight, but Sholan takes him and runs away because she knows he can't win. She tells him, "Don't be afraid. As long as you're with me, I will protect you from them," and takes him to the student housing. That same night, Lin was sitting sad in his room because the whole school was against him. At that moment, the system appears and tells him, "I can help you raise your rank by completing quests." The first quest was 10 push-ups, and Lin completes it easily. The second quest was 10 sets of 10 push-ups, meaning 100. Lin feels that he has become stronger than from the previous quest to the point that he does the 100 reps with one finger. Then the system tells him, "You are now at the 3rd rank." And indeed, Lin feels much stronger. The third quest was 10 reps, meaning 10 billion reps. Lin says to it, "Not a problem, patient is the one who says choose. You are the system." The system tells him, "Figure it out or go ask Sholan. Maybe she can help." Indeed, Lin goes to Sholan. In that she can tell him a way to increase his power. But on the way, a ninja attacks. However, he reacts to the attack at the last moment and engages in a fight with him, discovering that he has indeed become strong and capable of keeping up with the ninja until he discovers that the ninja is Dabio. Dabio, who is surprised by Lin's incredible level, takes out a spell from his pocket and directs it towards Lin. The system tells Lin, "Be careful, you won't be able to dodge or block this attack." Lin says, "Well, what should I do?" The system tells him, "I suggest you use the Heavenly Gate skill. This skill will allow you to absorb the opponent's attack in front of you, but it's a dangerous move and difficult to learn at your current level." Lin says, "Well then, I'll die in peace." The spell is heading towards him, but Sholin catches up to the situation and deflects it. She engages in a fight with Dabio, showing how strong she is by cornering him and putting her sword to his neck. But strangely, a second Dabio appears looking for Lin to confront him. So who is this Dabio in front of them? It's a fake Dabio. He takes advantage of Sholin's distraction and attacks her, but Lin, at the last moment, takes the blow for her, using the Heavenly Gate to absorb the damage. Sholin throws the fake Dabio, making him run away, and scares the real Dabio, who runs away as soon as he sees her. She notices that Lin is tired due to the power of the spell he used, but his level has evolved and he is now at the 4th rank. She sits with him and says, "I entered the academy to become strong and help those in need, and I'm sure you will become strong in the future. Until we reach that day, I will do everything I can to protect you." The next day, Lin goes to the academy with Sholin, hearing the whole school talking about him, and the looks of hatred are clear. He continues normally on his way to the class, and there he meets a very beautiful girl who catches his attention as soon as he sees her. Not just him, the whole class was staring at her. The girl's name is Sulin. He uses his truth eye on her to know her level, but he fails. Sholin tells him, "You won't be able to know her rank because it's higher than yours." The lesson begins, and strangely, the teacher was a talking tree. Suddenly, Lin finds everyone around him, even Sholin, sitting meditating, and he doesn't know what to do. He uses the truth eye and discovers an energy aura surrounding them, but he can't sense the energy because his rank is low, so he says, "No problem, next lesson I'll learn well." Stranger still, the next teacher is a talking sword, and the same thing happens. The third lesson is a flame of fire, then a hammer, and each time the same thing happens. The surprise is that the next lesson was a very normal teacher, so he gets happy, but discovers that she is teaching a subject about humans, saying information he knows because he is human, and gives each of them a mobile phone to play with until the end of the period. After that, Teacher Minen enters, the one who met Lin in front of the mirror on the first day at the academy, and introduces himself as the professor of numerology. Lin is happy that he will finally learn, but Minen tells them, "I will make you sleep now, and each one tell me what dream they had when they wake up." Suddenly, Lin feels sleepy, so he resists. Teacher Minen tells him, "A bloodbath is waiting for you after you wake up." Lin goes to sleep and wakes up to find himself in the middle of a magic lesson, and the teacher, Yang, asks him to enter a duel with Shang. Lin remembers Minen's words when he said the bloodbath waiting for him when he wakes up, but Sholin refuses because she knows the level difference between them and asks the teacher to enter the duel in his place. She attacks Shang with fire magic, but he easily blocks the attack. All her attempts fail because Shang was very strong. She surrounds herself with fire in the form of a phoenix and attacks, but he creates a shield that blocks the attack. At that time, the system tells Lin, "Activate the spirit eye." Indeed, Lin activates it and sees a weak point present in Shang's shield on his back. Shang uses gravity magic to pin Sholin to the ground, but Lin activates the Heavenly Gate and blocks Shang's attack, giving him a punch, but they underestimate him. Suddenly, Shang's shield breaks, and we learn that from the beginning. Lin was directing the blow towards the weak point in Shang's shield. Lin evolves to reach the 4th rank, and everyone is amazed at how he developed so quickly. After the end of the fight, Shang greets Lin for his bravery in combat and says, "What do you think about becoming friends?" Lin agrees and says, "Do you know where I can find spirit stones?" He adds that Lin's power increases by absorbing them. Sholin feels embarrassed by Lin's request because spirit stones are like currency in the human world, so Lin is basically begging for money from Shang without knowing it. But Shang smiles and gives Lin an expensive ring worth 5,000 spirit stones, then leaves him and walks away. Also, Sue appears and asks Lin to be her boyfriend. This after she saw the fight and learned he was human, and because she is interested in the human world and the romantic movies in it. After the end of the day, the system informs Lin that, as part of the agreement with the old man, he must participate in the Ruler's War competition, which will start at the school in a month. He must reach the top 50 places in the competition, and if he fails, he will be punished and turned into a girl. Lin is shocked when he imagines himself turning into a girl. "I must increase my power." He absorbs the stones he got from Shang, which make him reach the 7th rank at once, and he notices that he has become very strong. At that time, he asks the system to explain to him about the Ruler's War. The system tells him the top 50 students from the academy will participate in the competition. The competition will be held in the forest, and the last one standing wins. The idea of the competition is something like PUBG. Everyone fights each other, and the last one is the winner. But with your current level, you might reach rank 30,000, and I'm considered to be praising you by saying that. Lin feels sad about his masculinity that will be lost. There is only 1 month left before he turns into a girl, especially since no one at school tolerates him, and he will be the first to be targeted. So he says to the system, please give me a new quest to raise my level quickly. The system tells him you must defeat a person of level 9, and also there is a stone on top of a distant mountain. If you can find it and absorb its power, it will give you a new skill and will be useful. Lin says to himself, it's impossible for me to defeat a level 9 person. An idea comes to his mind, make Sholan lose to me on purpose. But every time he goes to tell her, he chickens out. So she goes and gets the gemstone for him. He goes to Shang, who tells him, you can use my binding skill, and thus you will have defeated her. Lin decides to execute the idea and goes to Sholan, who brought him the gemstone. Indeed, he uses the binding, but she cries before he attacks her. So he hesitates and accidentally touches a sensitive area. Sholan gets angry, hits him, and leaves. Lin returns to the dorm and eats the gemstone to gain the magical power, but suddenly he feels pain in his stomach accompanied by diarrhea. This stone must be from KFC. The system tells him this is the effect of your body absorbing the stone's power, and you will remain in this state for 13 days, after which your power will increase greatly. Lin says to the system, what should I do now? The competition is in 10 days. Lin spends his days in the bathroom and starts absenting himself from school to the extent that his friends worry about him. Shang goes and finds him in the bathroom, so he uses a spell on him that speeds up the healing process and comes every day to use the same spell on him until the competition date arrives. Lin arrives at the student gathering place in a terrible state. The symptoms of absorbing the stone haven't ended yet. He finds a dog in front of him who says, I am Supervisor Dubea, supervising you in the competition. You look like you need help. He tries to use his magic to help Lin but fails. One of the teachers appears and tells everyone a golden halo will appear around each one of you. This halo senses the amount of damage you will be exposed to, and whoever's halo disappears will be teleported out and loses the competition. Your rank will be calculated based on your strength and the number of people you defeat. With a signal from his hand, all the students are teleported randomly inside the forest. Lin wakes up and finds himself in front of Dabio, so he quickly begs and hits him, saying, I want to ask you for a request. Do you have toilet paper? And leaves and walks away. Suddenly, Dabio finds himself next to YG, who asks him about Lin. But strangely, Dabio doesn't tell YG his location and even points him to the wrong place. During this time, Lin was hiding, disguised as a tree. The recovery time was almost over, but one of the students sees him and informs the others of his location. Everyone fights each other to determine who will finish him off first. Oh, you sons of... Lin took enough time for the recovery process to end. The system tells him, now you have learned a new skill called Hero's Punch. Lin tries to use it, and with one blow he knocks all of them out and releases a giant magical wave. At that moment, he gets a notification of reaching the 8th rank. He looks at the competition board and finds himself in 43,000th place. The system tells him, just don't try, there's no hope of reaching the top 50 except in one case. Defeat 10 people of the 9th rank, or 1 person of the 10th rank, and also reach the top of the black rock. Woo! Indeed, he sees a giant rock flying in the sky, but he doesn't know how to reach it. Suddenly, he meets Dabio again, who says to him, come with me, and he finds a large number of students gathered inside a cave. Dabio tells him, these students are weak and won't win, but they don't want Ouija to defeat them, so they want you to defeat them and take the points for yourself without them feeling pain. Lin finds it an opportunity sent from heaven, and indeed, he takes them out with one attack and reaches rank 7,800. Suddenly, the system tells Lin, a powerful magic user is coming at you. Before he can comprehend the words, he finds the tree behind him being uprooted from the ground, and the magic user attacks him. But suddenly, he is exposed to a powerful magical attack that knocks out the attacker. The attack was coming from a girl sitting on a magical broom, looking very strong, named Quinn, who holds 2nd place in last year's competition. Lin says, well, I'm officially finished. Quinn looks at him and says, come play with me. Lin says, yes. Quinn says to him, I love human world games, so I wish to play with a human. Will you play with me, or are you done for? Lin says to her, But at the beginning, Quinn says to him, I will ask you 20 questions in 10 minutes, and if I like your answers, we become lovers, and if I don't, then goodbye. Indeed, she starts asking, and Lin tries to lie to her, but discovers that Quinn has the ability to detect a lying person through the aura surrounding them. Until he reaches the last question, Quinn says to him, "Do you want to be an ordinary but happy person or a strong but lonely person?" Lin says to her, "Of course I want to be happy and help people be happy, especially since I've lived alone all my life." Quinn confirms his honesty and is impressed by him, so she says, "Well, I've added you to my club and you're the first member, and we'll keep playing games until the competition ends." And of course, Lin didn't know what to do. If he refused, Quinn would knock him out. He'd turn into a girl. If he kept playing with her, the competition would end, and he'd turn into a girl anyway. An idea comes to his mind, so he accepts Quinn's request to play with her, but suggests the playing location be the top of the Black Rock. Indeed, she takes him there, and thus he fulfilled the first part of the mission. The second part remains. The system tells him, as soon as you finish absorbing energy from the rock, attack Quinn, and then you will gain the power. But suddenly a powerful wizard appears before him and says, "My name is Shen." He says to Lin, "I've been waiting for you for a long time, and we will meet again soon," and then disappears in the blink of an eye. But strangely, Quinn tells Lin that she didn't see anyone and thinks Lin is hallucinating. They go to Sholan, who meets Supervisor Dubaya, and he tells her that he saw Lin in a difficult condition before the competition started. Suddenly, Ouija appears before them and attacks them, and they discover that Ouija is the fake ninja who attacked Lin. Sholan says to him, "Why did you attack Lin?" Ouija says to her, "Because he is human, and I consider them my enemies and must eliminate them, and since you are helping him, you are my enemy too." He engages in a fight with them, but they barely succeed in escaping. We return to Lin, sitting playing with Quinn, waiting for the energy absorption time to finish. Quinn says to him, "I had a fun time with you, and this is the first time I've had a real friend." The word friend surprises Lin, especially since he was planning to attack her as soon as the energy absorption was complete. After 5 minutes, Quinn notices that Lin hasn't been honest with her since they reached the top of the rock. Indeed, Lin tells her, "I was planning to attack you." Quinn gets angry and says, "Well then, bring it on." She summons her sword and blocks Lin's attack, throwing him to the ground. Lin decides to tell Quinn everything about the system, and that he must defeat a powerful wizard to increase his power, or he will turn into a girl. Quinn realizes he is telling the truth, so she decides to let him go. But before she leaves, she gives him her bracelet and says, "You will need it in the future." Lin jumps from the rock, but while descending, he accidentally bumps into a powerful magic user named Wang. By an incredible coincidence, it turns out he is the strongest wizard in the school and the holder of first place in last year's competition. Wang flies into the sky and screams, challenging someone named Shen. He threatens to eliminate all the students from the tournament if Shen doesn't respond to the challenge. Of course, Lin remembers the name Shen whom he met before, but he doesn't pay attention to Wang's words and looks for Sholan's location until he finds her surrounded by a group of mages with Ouija. Before he hurts Sholan, he flies at them like a meteor, and from the force of the collision, everyone falls to the ground. But suddenly, a thunder wave appears that removes all the mages from the tournament in moments. Only 132 students remain in the tournament. Lin, Sholan, and Dubea find a shield around them from Quinn. The shield protected them from the attack, but it breaks afterward. Ouija and the mages are still present, but they are badly injured from the attack. So Lin seizes the opportunity and finishes them off to complete the mission and finally reaches the 9th rank. He apologizes to Sholan for the misunderstanding that happened and tells her everything. But they don't notice that Wang is still present and threatening Shen that if he doesn't appear, he will destroy the forest, and he seems to be entering a state of madness. Su and Shang appear and engage in a fight with Wang. Shang tries to bind him with magical chains and Su attacks with weapons. Shang asks everyone in the forest to supply him with energy to defeat Wang, but Wang is unaffected by all this and just sits laughing. Suddenly he gets up, breaking the chains and disarming Su, and forms an electric dragon. Shang tries to block the attack but fails, and Su is hit. Wang continues eliminating the remaining participants, and the turn comes to Shen, Sholan, and Dabi. A giant lightning bolt heads towards them, but before it hits them, Shen appears and blocks the attack with one finger. He says to Lin, "This skill is called Finger of Paradise. If you learn it, you will win now. I have to go," and then disappears like the first time. The system tells Lin there are only 5 participants left. You, Sholan, Dubea, Wang, and Quinn. To win, you must defeat the 4 present. Lin makes the decision and calls out to Wang, saying, "Come on, I challenge you. If you're a man, come and face." He pushes Sholan and Dubea away before they understand what's happening, who's collecting points, who's avoiding harm, and fighting Wang. Wang descends to Lin and says, "Where is Shen? Lin says to him, he left long ago and won't return. Wang goes crazy from Lin's words, who is challenging him to a fight, but Wang's madness turns into laughter, and he summons giant lightning bolts heading towards Lin. The system warns Lin, these lightning bolts won't knock you out of the tournament. They might kill you. But Lin doesn't listen to the system and decides to fight. As the lightning bolt, which has taken the shape of a dragon, approaches, Lin tries to stop the attack with his hero's punch, but nothing happens. Suddenly, Lin closes his eyes and concentrates, then raises his finger to execute the Finger of Paradise skill that Shen mentioned. Indeed, a powerful beam of light shoots from Lin's finger, destroying the dragon and heading towards Wang. Suddenly, the camera is cut out. No one knows exactly what happened. Everyone is in a state of anticipation and sees Wang next to them after he was eliminated from the competition and Lin defeated. At that moment, Lin achieves second rank. He accomplished the mission and won't turn into a girl anymore, but he loses consciousness and doesn't wake up until 10 days later. All his friends go to visit him, and the system is amazed that he managed to unlock the ultimate technique, but doesn't know how to use it. Lin and his friends are honored for their performance in the tournament. After a month, the teachers gather all the students from across the kingdom to inform them that the Demon King has escaped from his world and gone to the human world. Therefore, the academy decided to send 3 of its best students to the human world to help: Sholan, Shong, and Lin. Lin is going instead of YG after defeating him in the tournament, which makes YG angry and hate him even more. Furthermore, Lin is appointed as the group leader, which YG cannot bear and sits crying. At that moment, the system informs Lin that he has unlocked a new ability because he made his enemy cry, and this affects his opponent's psyche and puts him in a continuous state of crying. Before Lin departs with the others, Quinn bids him farewell and also gives him a ring as a gift, asking him to wear it for good luck. Suddenly, Lin finds teacher Minin in his face, who always says bad news when he sees him. He says to him, "Oh my god, you're talking," and runs away from him before hearing anything from him. But Sholan asks Minin, "What did you want to say?" Minin tells her be careful of Lin, because his journey will be full of blood and death, and no one will be able to prevent what will happen, then leaves her and walks away, leaving her worried about his words. The time comes for Lin and the others to transfer to the human world. Shang uses his magic to open a portal for crossing, but suddenly black hands appear and grab Lin to pull him into the portal. Sholan grabs him and gets pulled in with him, and Shang follows them into the portal before it closes. Sholan tries to free Lin from the hands tying him up, but she fails and loses consciousness along with Lin, who hears the system's voice telling him, "You are about to die if you don't wake up now." Suddenly, Lin and Sholan wake up and find themselves falling at high speed, heading for a crash landing on the ground. Lin surrounds himself and Sholan with a strong shield that reduces the force of the impact with the ground. At that time, Shang arrives and finds Lin unconscious and his body injured, so he uses healing magic on him and treats him. They hear voices around them, but discover that the sound is coming from Lin's head. When they focus, they find a flower crying on his head. Lin tells them, "There's a flower talking on my head. Help me?" The flower says to him, "You're the reason. You fell on me, and your magic power made me talk." After that, the flower disappears. They find a giant ship flying in the air, heading towards them, and a girl named Ling descends from it, from the human army. She asks them to come with her and takes them to a secret place. Lin tells Ling, "I am the group leader, and we came to help the humans." Ling laughs at Lin's words and says, "We don't need help from a bunch of children." Sholan gets angry and draws her sword at Ling, who is at the 10th rank. A fight begins between the two, but they stop when they find Shang sitting and filming them. He says to them, "There's no need for fighting among us." So Ling takes Lin and the others to introduce them to her leaders. Among the leaders is a girl named Lu, who is considered the leader of the human army. Lin, as soon as he sees her, recognizes her immediately because he was used to seeing her pictures everywhere in the human world before transferring to the spirit world. One of the judges, named Diego, tells them, "We have defeated the Demon King. There is no reason for your presence here anymore," and opens a portal for them to return to the spirit world immediately. Shang says to him, "We don't accept this treatment. We came here to help, and we should all be friends and in the same boat." Suddenly, alarm sirens sound in the place, warning that the headquarters is being attacked by members of the Blood Clan, followers of the Demon King. Sholan says, they claim they defeated the Demon King, meaning Shego was lying to them to make them leave. So Lin decides to take the others and go confront the Blood Clan. Shego tells them, "I told you to return to your world immediately." Lin refuses, and at that moment, Shego directs a magic beam towards him. Shang creates a shield around them that easily blocks the attack. So Shego tells him, "If you stay put, I will consider you enemies." Shang says to him, "Well, I challenge you. If I win you, you must accept our help." But the system tells Lin it's better for him to face Shaego. Indeed, Lin asks Shang to let him enter the challenge instead. Shaego accepts the challenge and releases all his magical power. Lin has an energy aura around him. Suddenly, Ling appears from behind him and throws him to the ground. We learn that she is Xiaoguo's daughter. She continues directing blows at Lin at an incredible speed. Xiaoguo says to him, "If I were you, I'd surrender." Despite Ling's speed, Lin manages to grab her by her hands, which angers Ling and makes her attack Lin with all her strength. So he had no choice but to activate the Heavenly Gate and block her attack. He uses the absorbed energy to direct an attack towards Shaego, who tries to block the attack with his magic. So Lin uses the crying skill he learned before arriving. At that moment, Shaego remembers his memories with his wife who left him and enters a state of sadness, stopping his defense. Before the attack hits him, Lu blocks the attack and says to him, "Well, I am convinced of your strength. You have an unnatural skill in using illusion magic on Shaego, but you must defeat me too. If you can escape from my barrier, I will allow you to stay." She surrounds him with a strong barrier, and Ling, who entered the barrier by mistake, is with him. At that moment, Lin uses the ultimate technique, and a giant aura comes out of him that breaks the barrier, amazing everyone present. Lu admits defeat and decides to accept help from Lin and his team. Shaego decides to take Ling through a portal that transports them to the ghost village to scout the enemy's capabilities. He sees smoke there, and Ling tells him, "This smoke is poisoned, be careful and don't go near it." Lin uses his magic and discovers that he can push the smoke away from the area. Ling detects the presence of 2 strong enemies in the area, so she contacts the headquarters to send them support and tells Lin, "Let's retreat." But Lin says to her, "Wait," and activates the spirit eye to discover that the data Ling sent was wrong, and that there are 4 enemies, not just 2. He decides to go inside the smoke to check for himself. Ling says to him, "Damn you, you'll get us into trouble." But after minutes, he returns from inside the smoke, grabs them, and they escape. They discover that he met them inside the smoke and used illusion magic on them to make them cry until help arrived from the main headquarters. Meanwhile, the main headquarters. Shaego refuses to send Sholan and Shang to the battlefield because they are Lin's friends and because their level isn't strong enough. But they refuse. So Sholan creates a fiery shield protecting them, and Shang, with one attack, pushes all the soldiers away, and then they enter the portal after Lin to rescue. Suddenly, an alarm comes to them that the headquarters is besieged by a large number of magic users, and strangely, their level is unknown. They see a picture taken by the cameras of a girl who looks very strong. Lu asks them to challenge her to defeat her. One of them tries to cross the portal, but suddenly his whole face turns into black smoke. After that, the entire portal area turns into black smoke and throws all present to the ground. The girl comes out of the portal and we learn that her name is Kuro. She says, "Now I need 10 human sacrifices to carry out my mission." At this time, Sholan and Shang arrive at Lin's location, but Lin gets an alarm from the command center that communication has been cut off between them. Something must have happened there. She tells everyone, "We must withdraw immediately." Lin says to her, "Don't worry, they are very strong. They will manage." Suddenly, one of the Blood Clan members attacks him and flies with him into the air to throw him from above, and 2 of her colleagues receive him with sonic waves that cause loss of consciousness. Shang tries to save him, but one of them attacks him, so he uses his chains to restrain her and barely maintains consciousness. Attention turns to Lin, but this time there are 2 standing in front of him. Sholan tries to save Lin from falling, but she gets an electric shock that throws her to the ground. Shang succeeds in grabbing one of them and directs a dagger towards him to finish him off, and the others try to save him. But Shang creates a shield around him to protect himself from them. Meanwhile, one of them grabs Lin and lifts him into the sky, preparing to suck his blood. But suddenly, Lin wakes up, uses the ultimate technique to shock his enemies, and seizes the opportunity to attack the rest of them. The situation changes 180 degrees. But a portal opens beside them, and black hands come out and pull Lin inside, just like what happened on the day of his crossing from the spirit world to the human world. After it closes, they learn that Kuro is behind everything that happened. She transports Lin to a dark place. Lin is unconscious, and the system tells him, "Your injuries are severe. You must use the ring you got from Quinn." Indeed, Lin uses the ring, which was a means of transportation that Quinn used to reach the ring's location. Quinn comes out and carries Lin, then begins attacking all the Blood Clan members and defeats them in seconds. What immense power does Quinn possess? After that, she transports Lin's friends to his location. Quinn stands before Kuro and suddenly disappears and appears behind her, attacking quickly. She succeeds in cutting off one of her wings, but Kuro smiles, hides her wings, and uses her power to summon 3 devastating weapons. The first was a nail with the ability to absorb the energy of any magic user who gets near it. The second weapon was a sword, and it was very clear that it was dangerous. Kuro grabs the sword and moves it in the air. Suddenly, the nail moves at tremendous speed to reach Lin's hand and sticks into it. She holds the sword in her other hand to completely restrict his hand movements. Lin's friends try to help him, but a strong gravity pins them to the ground. Not only does it prevent movement, it also hides their magical power due to the appearance of the third devastating weapon. The weapon is a magical disc that creates a barrier that absorbs energy and prevents anyone from entering or exiting the place. Even Kuro, after activating the barrier, began to be affected by it herself. She says, well, my mission is finished. Sholan says to her, what is your mission? Kuro says to her, I must eliminate Lin because he doesn't belong to this world and lose his consciousness. They learn that Kuro has begun summoning rituals for the Demon King. A screen appears before Lin with options. He can sacrifice 5 years of his life in exchange for obtaining tremendous power to save his friends. Lin was about to accept, but suddenly a fairy appears and steps on the reject button. They learn that this fairy is the system, named Tina, and she comes from a world destroyed by the Demon King. So she used all her power to transfer to this world and share Lin's journey in changing the future and eliminating the Demon King. Suddenly, Lin regains some of his memories and remembers that Tina was always with him at all times. Not only that, she saved him in most situations he was exposed to since the beginning of his entry into the magic school. He hugs Tina, and after that, he wakes up to find himself thrown on the ground and all his colleagues around him unconscious. Lim gets up and uses the ultimate technique, which we know allows him to control destructive weapons, and through the spirit eye, he can know the location of the shield's weak point and uses the nail and hits it with it to destroy the shield. Then he grabs the sword and raises it in the sky to release a destructive beam of energy and destroys the summoning circle. Then Tina appears again and was about to disappear. But before she disappears, she says to him, I will give you the last mission. Look for me in the spirit kingdom. Then she disappears. After the mission ends in the human world, all magic users in the headquarters are rescued, and the one who keeps the 3 destructive weapons is saved. After the spirit world returns, he is honored with his colleagues and continues training to gain greater power. Most importantly, he is looking for Tina, and that's all. Write to us in the comments what you think of the anime, and then tell us what you want us to continue in the 2nd season when it comes out. No, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in a new video.